Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we are doing the IBF Champions Report. As we are going to cover all champions and title belts in the IBF from 122 pounds all the way to heavyweight. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. I've been out of it for a while, guys. I apologize. I'm jumping back in and I'm starting off with the Champions Reports. I haven't done these in a minute. So let's get it rolling. We're going to start in the 122-pound super bantamweight division. Still the reigning undefeated IBF and undisputed champion, Naoya Inoue, the monster. He returned in September, took on Mirajan Akhmadaliev, and scored a one-sided 12-round decision in that one. Akhmadaliev had his moments, but they were few and far between. And Inoue just proved that he's the best at 122. Inoue has already signed on for his next fight, December 27th, as part of Riyadh season, an all-Japanese card taking place in Saudi Arabia, as Inoue will defend his undisputed super bantamweight championship against his WBC mandatory challenger, David Allen Picasso. Picasso's undefeated, solid super bantamweight, but Inoue's coming in a heavy favorite in this one. I'll be doing, my breakdown and prediction video on this. But yeah, I think Inoue's, Inoue's the clear favorite going in. It should be an interesting fight. This is supposed to be a prelude to the showdown, the super showdown with Junto Nakatani, the bantamweight unified champ. He will be in the co-feature defending his bantamweight title. He's already ranked number 1 in the WBO. So this fight's supposed to be next between these two, between Inoue and Nakatani, both top 10 pound-for-pound fighters. So that fight's supposed to take place in May. So Inoue's got to get through Picasso first on December 27th. Next, we go to the 126-pound featherweight championship, which is currently held by reigning champ Angelo Leo. Leo last fought in May when he made a mandatory defense of his title against former champion Tomoki Kameda of Japan. He went over to Japan for that fight. It was a blood and guts, tooth and nail fight. Very good back and forth battle. Leo edged him out to retain the WBC belt. So Angelo Leo, now there's been nothing concrete about what he's going to do next. I've looked, nothing concrete. He's not in mandatory mode right now. Omar Trinidad is his highest rated contender at number 2, but it doesn't look like there's anything big on the horizon. So I'm looking forward to seeing what gets announced for Leo. Hopefully we hear something before the end of the year. He last fought in May, so I'm hoping by the end of the year Champions Report he at least has his next fight signed, or maybe he'll get one in before the end of the year. We'll see. Next up is a 130-pound super featherweight title, which is held by reigning champion Eduardo Nunez. Nunez last fought in September when he made the first defense of his title against Christopher Diaz, the veteran, and outworked him, out-hustled him to a 12-round unanimous decision in that fight. Now there's been talks that Nunez, who's not in mandatory mode right now, he's in optional mode, could be squaring off against Emmanuel Navarrete in a all-Mexican unification bout. Navarrete is the WBO champion. But nothing has been, we know that Navarrete has a mandatory rematch due against Charlie Suarez following their no contest that we had back in May. But what I read is that it's possible that the unification could happen, but Suarez is going to have to okay the unification on his end in order to make it happen. So by the end of the year, I think we're going to know if that unification is going forward, or if Navarrete is going to have to move forward with Charlie Suarez, and then Nunez is going to have to go in another direction. Again, he doesn't have a mandatory due right now, so he can pretty much fight who he wants, and we'll see what happens next. Next up is the 135-pound lightweight championship, which is held by reigning champ Raymond Murataya. Murataya is set to, he's not set yet, but he's supposed to be making the first defense of his title in a mandatory defense against undefeated Andy Cruz, who's on the rise. There was talks about Murataya fighting somebody else prior to that, Floyd Schofield, but Andy Cruz is the mandatory challenger, and the fight has been put to a purse bid. I know they pushed the purse bid back for a week. So Murataya and Cruz, I don't think it's going to pop up before the end of the year. I think we'll see it at the very beginning of next year. But that's a big one right there, and I'm hoping that fight is finalized by the end of the year Champions Report. It should be. Next is the 140-pound junior welterweight title, which is currently held by reigning undefeated champion Richardson Hitchens. Hitchens, we haven't seen Hitchens since June, when he successfully defended his title against former unified lightweight champ George Kambosos Jr. with a dominant 8th round TKO victory. Hitchens is in optional mode as well. His top 2 contenders have not been, the top 2 spots. There's no number 1 contender right now. So Hitchens can fight whoever, but it's taken some time for him to find an opponent. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Hitchens decides to do. There is no other champion that seems interested right now. The other champions have fights that are coming up, so he's probably going to have to make an optional defense. I hope he comes back for the end of the year, but right now it's not looking likely. Hopefully by the end of the year Champions Report, if he hasn't fought, he's made a decision about what he's doing next. Next up is the 147-pound welterweight title, which is currently held by newly crowned champion Lewis Crocker. Crocker captured the title in September when he defeated Paddy Donovan in their rematch. Now Crocker is looking to defend his title in January. Hasn't decided on an opponent. He's talked about a potential showdown with Manny Pacquiao, who's still trying to finalize his January fight. We know Ikao Asuman was also being considered or talked about. Right now, he doesn't have a mandatory due. Liam Paro, the former junior welterweight champ, and Paddy Donovan are looking to clash later this year to determine his mandatory. But right now, he's open to pretty much fighting whomever he wants that he can get in the ring. So I'm interested in seeing how Lewis Crocker, what he does and who he fights. Hopefully we hear something by the end of the year, and I think we will. He says he wants to return January, February himself, so I think we will have an opponent for Lewis Crocker by the end of the year Champions Report. Next is the 154-pound super welterweight title, and there is still the reigning but inactive undefeated champion Bakram Murtazaliev. Murtazaliev hasn't fought since October of last year when he destroyed Tim Tszyu in 3 rounds. He hasn't fought since that fight. We know the first half of the year he was recovering from injuries, but then he signed on for he's been trying to find an opponent since like May or June. He's been trying to lock down a fight. There was talks of Erickson Lubin. That fell through. Lubin's going to fight Virgil Ortiz now. There's been a lot of talks, but nothing has come to fruition for Murtazaliev. We know him and Josh Kelly have been in hot talks for it. Josh Kelly is technically his highest rated contender at number 3, but the fight has not been finalized. So I'm hoping Murtazaliev gets the fight with Kelly or somebody before the end of the year, at least shakes off the rust. It's very rare you see a guy destroy a named fighter like Tim Tszyu and then not get a big fight after that. So going to be interesting to see what happens for Murtazaliev following this, before the end of the year, but hopefully we know something. Next up is the 160-pound middleweight championship, which is still currently held by reigning undefeated IBF and unified champion Janabek Alamanhalai. Janabek also holds the WBO title. He last fought in April when he destroyed some guy, I don't even remember his name, destroyed some guy with a 5th round knockout. He's been trying to land a unification bout with Carlos Adames since then. Finally, he got his unification dream to come true. Just recently, he signed on for a unification showdown with veteran champion Arislandi Lara. They will collide December 7th. That's supposed to be the co-feature to the Isaac Cruz Lamont Roach junior welterweight interim title fight. I think it's on Amazon Prime. Big fight right here. I'm really excited for it. Janabek definitely the favorite. This is the kind of fight I will do a breakdown and prediction video on, but really looking forward to that fight taking place December 7th. Next up is the 168-pound super middleweight championship, which is currently held by newly crowned undefeated reigning champ Terrence Bud Crawford. who's the undisputed champion as well. He holds all 4 major titles. He upset Canelo Alvarez back in September to claim the undisputed title. And now, really, the world is his oyster. He can do whatever the hell he wants. None of these governing bodies, from what I've heard, are gonna enforce any mandatories on him right now. For the IBF title, Osleys Iglesias is his number 1 contender. He ain't fighting him. Canelo is his number 1 contender in the other 3 governing bodies. So I think Canelo has a strong chance of being his next opponent, but Canelo's just had surgery. He's not supposed to come back until like May, June of next year. Cinco de Mayo weekend is normally his fight date. And then September, Mexican Independence Day weekend, is his second fight date. Does he fight on Cinco de Mayo weekend, or is he going to wait until September? Excuse me. And then is Crawford going to take the rematch with him? I think Crawford would, but I think right now I'm leaning more towards that fight taking place in September, but that might be the next time we see Terrence Crawford fight. Crawford's only fought, he's only fought 1 time per year, per calendar year, since 2020. 2019 was the last time he fought twice in 1 calendar year. So, I think Crawford could wait around until then. I think he could defend the title against a bunch of different options, like for instance, a Jamal Charlo, somebody like that instead. But Crawford's going to enjoy this shit, being an undisputed champ, knocking off Canelo, being the first 3-division undisputed world champion in the 4-belt era. I mean, that's a fucking history right there. So we're going to see what happens. I do believe Canelo or another big fight is coming in 2026. I'm hoping by the end of 2025 we have some kind of direction, but I'm not banking on that, because Crawford is going to take his time and make the right choice, and it's going to be a big money fight no matter what. Next is the 175-pound light heavyweight championship, which is currently held by reigning IBF and unified champion Dimitri Bivol. He also holds the WBA Super, and the WBO championships. Bivol hasn't fought since February, when he claimed the undisputed title at the time with a hard-fought 12-round majority decision victory over Artur Beterbiev in their rematch. A couple months later, he gave up the WBC belt after they ordered him to fight David Benavidez, who was his mandatory challenger and interim champ. He declined that because he had the option of a 3rd fight taking place with Beterbiev, and he was going for that fight. But that fell through because he suffered an injury, decided to take the rest of the year off. So Bivol should be coming back. He wants to come back early in 2026. Right now, we don't know who he's coming back to, though. Right now, the fight with Beterbiev, I still think is an option, but is that the first fight that he wants back after a year layoff? Beterbiev is returning on the Benavidez Yard undercard, taking on like a little-known fighter he should walk right through. So Beterbiev is staying busy. But there's also been talks that Beterbiev and Benavidez have agreed in principle for, as long as they both win on November 22nd, they've agreed in principle for a showdown in the first half of next year. That might work to Bivol's favor, because Bivol could shake off that year-long rust and the injury and take on one of his mandatories. And he has 2 mandatories, but the primary one that's been waiting around for over 2 years is little-known Canadian Michael Eifert. Now, it's not the guy, name-wise, it wouldn't be the guy he would want to fight, but you would clear up his mandatory that way. And then there's the other option is WBO interim champ Callum Smith, which is a bigger fight. So I think it could be either one of those guys. I'm actually leaning towards more towards that direction, or I think it could be, Beterbiev. So hopefully by the end of the year, Champions Report, we know what's going on with Dimitri Bivol and IBF light heavyweight championship. Next up is the 200-pound cruiserweight title, which is still currently held by reigning undefeated champion, 2-time champ, Jai Opetaia. Opetaia's next fight has been signed and ready to go. December 6th, he will take on Hussein Sin Cara, his mandatory challenger. He was supposed to fight him back in January. Sin Cara had to pull out with an injury. Since then, he's made 2 optional defenses, destroyed his opponents, and now he's looking at Sin Cara in December. It's been a disappointing year in terms of Opetaia wanting the unification. He hasn't been able to get it. But this victory here, getting his mandatory out of the way, is only going to help him push towards a unification bout with Gilberto Ramirez or the Badu Jack Noel Mikhailian rematch that's taking place in December as well. So for the WBC belt. So I think Opetaia is going to run over Sin Cara, retain his belt, and push for something bigger later. And finally, the heavyweight title. Still the reigning undisputed champion is Oleksandr Usyk. Usyk regained the IBF title, winning it for his third time back in September when he unified all 4 belts and became undisputed champion for his second time when he dominated Daniel Dubois in their rematch, stopping him in 6 rounds to leave no doubt and become a 2-time undisputed world champ. Usyk was ordered by the WBO to face Joseph Parker next, but Usyk decided he wanted to take the rest of the year off and decide on what he wanted to do next. So the WBO has ordered Parker to face off against Fabio Wardley. If he defeats the winner of that fight, is expected to land Usyk next, and Parker's the sizable favorite going into that fight. So I think Parker's going to beat Wardley. I think it's going to be Usyk and Parker early next year for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. That'd be the first, that'd be his 8th pro fight, and he's 6 of his pro fights have been against the same guys. So it's only his 5th heavyweight opponent that he's faced. And Joseph Parker's the most deserving guy. After Usyk destroyed Dubois, it was Dubois or Parker. And now that he destroyed Dubois again, Parker's the most deserving guy, and we've never seen this fight. He's got that kind of style. I think that's what's going to happen next. The IBF, he doesn't even have a mandatory right now in the IBF, so Usyk is good. And that's what we got for the IBF Champions Report. In terms of fights that are on the schedule, again, December 6th, Jai Opetaia making his mandatory against Hussein Sikara for the 200-pound cruiserweight title. I don't think there's a ton of fights other than that. Janabek Alamanhalai, December 7th, is going to face off against a WBA champion, Erislandy Lara, to unify the IBF and WBO and the WBA belts at middleweight. That's a big, big fight right there. Other than that, I don't see any fights that are officially on the schedule outside of the 122-pound Super Bantamweight Championship. Naoya Inoue, the Monster, is set to defend his undisputed title against his WBC mandatory challenger, David Allen Picasso, who's undefeated. Again, that's December 27th as part of Riyadh season from Saudi Arabia, all Japanese card. And again, that's to lead up to build towards the Junto Nakatani showdown, which is supposed to take place in the first half of next year. So that is it. That's what I got. That is my IBF Champions Report covering all IBF titles and champions from 122 pounds all the way to heavyweight. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.